welcome to week 4 of finding my Ikigai slash my journey to find purpose and fulfillment. I only have a few minutes to check in because I'm about to go to my friend's office. My friend works for this company in the flower industry, and essentially they're considering hiring me to do a whole messaging rebrand for them, basically helping them identify all of their key value propositions and how they stand apart from competitors and what pain points they solve for their customers, what values they have as a company, and all of these things that you can use to put together a whole messaging framework, like a messaging statement, position statement, brand promise, boilerplate, etc. Brand manifesto that you put on your website. So it's a big responsibility. It's a bigger project. I've proposed that it would take me about 6 weeks total to meet everyone on the team, hear all their different perspectives on the industry and business, and then be able to draft a whole new messaging house, basically. And that in that 6 weeks, it also incorporates time for feedback and, you know, multiple rounds of review. So I've already met their CEO and she's really on board with the project, but she wants me to meet the rest of the management team to sort of explain the significance of doing such a project, which is funny because most of the people that I talk to have found me because they desperately need someone to help them shape their brand tone of voice and whatnot. So I haven't really needed to lecture somebody on the significance of branding and messaging, but I'm totally willing to do that because some of the people in the management team are very operations focused and product focused, so they don't see that bigger picture vision and why it's so important to establish a strong brand. So I'm happy to have the meeting today, the discussion, and hoping that it also serves as like a kickoff for the actual project itself, that we already dive deep into the topics that will help me be able to create awesome new messaging for them. So I'll check back in later to let you know how it went. Thought I'd change it up with a different background, which also happens to be like my favorite area of the house. Even with the cat furniture, I think it looks quite nice. It blends in quite well. But anyways, today has been freaking wild. I had the meeting at my friend's company. It went super well. At least I think it went super well, and I heard from their side that they also thought it went well. I was a bit confused as to whether this meeting was to officially kick off the project, that we are, you know, working together and here we go, or whether I still needed to do some convincing of the management team. But it was pretty much like from the start of the discussion, it was pretty clear that they're on board with the whole idea and that they do realize that they desperately need like structure to their messaging. And what's beautiful with these brand exercises is that it really forces the team to ask questions about where they see the company in 10 years. What are they really trying to build? Not just what have you built so far, but what are you building towards, you know? And you have to find this balance between a super aspirational, super ambitious goal, which is also technically possible. You have to like set your brand promise and your mission statement like somewhere there. And ideally it is ambitious enough that your potential clients subscribe to your company because they see that your company is the one that's going to be here for the long term, is going to solve my problems not only of today but also of tomorrow. So I want to stick with you and be loyal to you. So anyways, I was already asking these types of questions to their team and having a great discussion, and we were already like, and it was already sparking a lot of debate, which is a good sign that someone like me is needed to come on and help them make sense of all their very different opinions and their different thoughts and what's the most important thing to focus on, and are we a platform, are we a marketplace type of conversations, which I find very interesting. So that meeting went super well. So when I got home, I got a message from someone I used to work with that the VC guy who wants to write a book had reached out to them asking for a reference check of me, seeing how they enjoyed working with me, if they think I'm capable, etc. And that the person I used to work with gave them a super positive review apparently, and was telling me that I should expect to hear from the VC guy soon with good news. And I was like, wow, first of all, thank you so much for giving me a positive review. That's so kind of you. And also I'm so confused because I thought he had turned me down for the other candidate. As I mentioned in my last video in a quick like text slide, that they decided to go with someone else who had way more experience and who had also been a founder. But turns out that for whatever reason, the VC guy reconsidered. And so not even 5 minutes after I got the text from my former colleague, I get a call from the VC guy that he indeed does really want to work with me. I guess he couldn't stop thinking about the conversation that we had had, and that even though the other guy had way more experience, that he just really appreciated my energy and thought it would be really nice to work together. So he officially offered me the job. So long story short, I think we're gonna be working together. We still have to like hash out the terms and the contract, but it's looking like we're gonna be working together, which means it's looking like I'm gonna be writing a book, which is craziness, and it's totally like a dream gig of mine. Even if the topics are more about entrepreneurship and less about the topics that I especially care about, I still think it's a hugely beneficial learning opportunity, especially if I ever want to be a founder myself and start Clouder, the cat adoption platform that I had mentioned in a previous video. That writing this book about the founder journey would be so helpful in that. So absolutely awesome news today. I honestly have to think very seriously about my schedule because it could be that I've overbooked myself just a tad. So I'll keep you updated. What had started out as such a good day suddenly became awful because we had a bunch of paper trash basically that Seb...
Huge boxes
of trash with tons of stuff. And next to the box of trash, I had a paper bag with a dress that I had borrowed from my friend Kate for a wedding that we attended, and I had left it in a paper bag next to the door where we also keep the paper trash because I wanted to remind myself that I need to return it to her, but I wasn't thinking about Seb accidentally mistaking it for trash and throwing everything away. So Seb goes and throws this big box of trash away. And goes to the gym, and you know, maybe 45 minutes, an hour later, do we actually realize that he threw away the bag with the dress in it. And so I'm like, oh God, this is so awkward. I'm gonna have to like compensate her for the dress. Like the whole point of borrowing it was so that I didn't have to buy a dress, and now I'm gonna have to compensate for a dress. And what if it's a sentimental dress? It was like, I think her sister's dress, and what if it's important to her, you know? What if it's a one of a kind and it doesn't exist anymore? And basically, I thought like, is there any possible way we can get it out of the bin? Which in Amsterdam, which like is, typically...
Exactly, those bins are basically, look very small at the top, but then they go super deep, and then basically you have like a crane that just kind of like pulls them out. And so normally you just have a little slot where you just throw stuff in. This time like the side doors were open, so like almost like a,
you could almost hop in there.
Yeah,
technically.
Exactly, almost. And the nice thing for me was because I had this like big box with all kinds of other boxes in, I could just like shove it through the side and just like plopped all the way down.
Yeah, normally there's only a small sliver, like a small door that you have to put things one by one in, but this time, miraculously, the side door was open. So then I thought, okay, let's bring like a tool that we could, because it's in a paper bag with a handle. It has a handle. And so I thought if we can bring a tool to maybe fish it out, see if we can even look down there. And basically, yeah, here's the footage of us fishing it out. Okay, I'm so close. Oh my God. Oh my God, I can manage.
You think so?
Yeah. I can manage. All right. I just need my arm strength.
You don't need to try.
Back to having a good day after all.
Yeah, actually insane to, because like we were thinking of like even jumping in, trying to fish it out, but it was like
you were thinking, and I was like, that's the dumbest idea I've ever heard, because if you jump in, you also don't know how deep you're gonna go, because
you can roughly see, but yeah, it's like stacked carton.
You could be on top of hollow boxes that if you jump, then they all like collapse and you go much deeper. You don't really know.
But yeah, the fact that we got it out, like chances were like 2% maybe optimistically. So yeah, huge win.
Yeah, walking out of the house, I was like, there's zero chance. But when I saw it, because like as soon as we got to the trash bin, I could see the bag. So then I was like, okay, we have like a 25% chance of getting it out. And then as soon as I realized the pull was long enough to at least touch the bag, then I was like, I think we can manage. Back to having a good day. Let's go. even though no one has asked for this. I just received my typical skincare order and I thought it might be nice to share because I'm super obsessed with Korean skincare, and in case anyone's interested in what products I'm loving at the moment, that would be this cleansing oil, calendula. I always use a cleansing oil plus a like foaming cleanser in combination, because the oil is really helpful for getting rid of the sunscreen and the makeup on your face, but then you still want like a foam cleanser to properly deep clean. On the cleansing foam, I'm trying this one out for the first time because I was using a salicylic acid one, which I think is a bit too harsh to use every single day. So I'm just gonna go for this one and see how it goes. This is just a little sample that you always get with this brand. This rice toner is a holy grail item for me. Toner is super helpful for that in-between step after you cleanse, but before you put on moisturizer to kind of just strengthen your skin barrier. The moisturizer is kind of like a temporary solution to put in moisture, but the toner is like a long-term helping your skin actually have moisture in it. Absolutely love pimple patches. That's why I always bulk up on a bunch of those. Super nice for just like sucking up all the nasties, and I find that they work really well for me, but not everyone feels the same way. Couple of face masks, always nice to have a couple on hand. And lastly, other than the little samples, I'm also trying out this new moisturizer because the one I love, which is like with 6 different types of hyaluronic acid, is out of stock, so I decided to go for something new just because I really desperately needed some new moisturizer, so we'll let you know. Nice.
If you turn around. Oh my god. It's the difference in color.
I thought I was done recording for this week's video, but there is an update that I figured I might as well pop in here. Basically, I've decided to turn down the book opportunity. It's crazy that I'm even in a position only 2 months, not even 2 months into freelancing, to be able to turn down opportunities, but here we are. Super blessed for things to already be going so well that I can turn down projects. Basically, like, without throwing any shade, I understand his position, but it just doesn't really make sense for me. Initially, when we had first chatted about the project, he wanted a 150 to 200 page book in about 6 months time, so due around the end of November. I told him that that is feasible and that I would have about 3 to 4 days a week to work on it up until the end of November, considering I want to still be somewhat flexible to take on other projects in the meantime, so that it's not like a full-time project, but I would dedicate a lot of time on this, and that with 3 days a week, I can make it happen for the end of November, sure. In wanting to be fully transparent throughout this channel, I offered 21K for the 6-month project, which equals to, I just calculated, $3,500 a month, which pretty much equals like what I would make on my full-time salary if I was only working 3 days a week. So that's not even a freelance rate. That's like the full-time rate, but for 3 days a week. So I thought like this is a pretty low price considering the effort on my side. However, he countered with 15K. And not only that, he wants it done now in 4 months, not 6 months. And I think his logic was like, if Emma's saying her rate is $3,500 for 6 months, let's just do 4 months and make it'll be lower, right? But that doesn't make sense because the effort remains the same. The effort required to write a 150 to 200 page book is gonna be the same whether it takes me 6 months or 4 months. It just means that I would definitely need to work on this full time for those 4 months, meaning I would have to sacrifice the other projects that I'm already committed to and turn down any potential projects that come along the way during that time. I tried countering again and getting him to a more reasonable, in my opinion, price and timeline, but he seems pretty adamant about making this work and that he really prioritizes having the book ready like ASAP. So unfortunately that really just doesn't fit with where I'm at in my freelancing right now, because I have other amazing projects that I'm already committed to. And on that note, I might as well end this video with great news, which is that I'm in the process of signing a contract with the European Space Agency. Freaking amazing! This is affiliated to the space communications firm that I had talked about in previous videos, where basically there was a project of ESA where they need an editor for one of their departments, so doing all sorts of content for them for 6 months. Based here in the Netherlands. It's about an hour away from Amsterdam, and I would need to commute like 3 days a week, so that's not ideal as a freelancer who's trying to gain more flexibility in her life, but still, it's ESA, so I mean, come on, I'm gonna make it work. And that's a 40-hour-a-week position, where I do still think that because it's a topic that I'm utterly passionate about, I don't think it's gonna feel as draining as 40 hours a week did at all my previous positions where I was not passionate about the topic. So I feel like I'll still have energy to pursue other small freelance projects here and there while taking on this 40-hour-a-week freelance contract for the next 6 months. So freaking stoked. And honestly, this gig with ESA pays $2,400 more a month than I was making full-time anyways. So this gig alone will mean that I'm making more a month than I ever have in my career for the next 6 months. And any small projects on top of that is just added. We're hashing out the final details in the contract right now, but pretty much the idea is to sign it today. So just wanted to end the video on that amazing note. And even though it is a bit of a shame that the book opportunity didn't work out, because still would have been so epic to be able to say I wrote a book, still would have learned a ton from this guy and about founding a company and whatnot, but it really didn't feel right throughout the whole negotiation process. I feel really proud of myself for how I handled the whole situation and that I made this tough call, even though other people might say like I was stupid for not taking this opportunity and just accepting the lower budget and the shorter timeline just for the sake of being able to say I wrote a book and for this very prominent investor guy. But ultimately that's not the type of stuff that I care about anyways. I don't really care about the whole prestige of VC. I don't really care about the title of being an author. It is cool to have written a book, and eventually I do still want to write a book, but probably not about this topic if I'm being honest. But it's not my Ikigai, and that's the entire point of this channel, is sometimes taking the riskier choice because you know it'll make you happier. That's the whole point of finding my Ikigai, and so this was a step towards that. Okay, now for the actual final update of this video. It's been 2 hours since I last checked in, and the ESA contract is signed! Woohoo! We agreed on all of the final terms and we're good to go. It's set in stone now. And basically what this means is that I do not need any other clients until January 2025, basically. I do not need any other clients, but I technically could take on a few small projects here and there if I really want to. For example, I actually do have a meeting on Monday with someone who just found me on LinkedIn and booked through my Calendly. And she also has a like founder coaching company, and she just like trains founders on being more efficient and being and optimizing like their flow state and training them, I think, on like leadership abilities and whatnot too. And she just wants someone to help with her personal content. If that ends up being like a 10-hour-a-week commitment, for example, I think I could squeeze that in on top of this ESA gig, but I do not need to look for other clients until next year. So it's just freaking awesome that, especially considering I only embarked on this journey not even 2 months ago. And it's already like I'm already set. I even made a New Year's resolution to have 20K in my savings by the end of the year, which was so hard to achieve as a full-timer here in the Netherlands because salaries aren't super high. I've mentioned that before, but also because taxes are super high. It's like 40% of your salary just goes to taxes, which is also frustrating considering I know that we're not going to be living in the Netherlands for that much longer. So it's so frustrating because you work so hard to make this money, and then like almost half of it goes towards a country that you're not even going to be living in pretty soon. But that's all to say, it's hard to save money here, and my savings were slowly growing, but then quickly getting depleted whenever I'd go visit my mom in Japan, or my siblings in the US, or especially considering we had an engagement party, a wedding, a honeymoon. So then the savings were just going like this. But with the ISA gig alone, I am set to more than save 20K for this year. So that's freaking awesome. I really like, it hasn't really fully settled in yet. I officially start June 1st, so that's a week and a day from today. But they actually want me to slowly already get onboarded, which will additionally be compensated for, which is so sweet. So technically already next week I'll have some activities with ISA. And also, can we just take a second, because this is the European Space Agency I'm going to be working with for 7 months. What a freaking dream. I had applied to NASA at least 7 times over the course of 3-4 years. For internships, for content writing jobs, for communications gigs, you know, all sorts of different roles, and hardly hearing back at all. And I'm pretty sure that with ISA under my belt, if I wanted to apply to NASA again, this would be huge leverage, a huge advantage. I'm very appreciative to those of you who are watching this. I really enjoy making these videos. Even if no one were watching these videos, I'm really loving making them and editing them and looking back on them already. So it's just awesome to even have this digital diary, I guess, which is somewhat of a timestamp of my progress, and you know, let this channel be proof alone that investing in yourself pays off. Let this channel be proof alone that when you're working hard for yourself, it doesn't even really feel like work, that it's just exciting and you feel so good about the effort that you make, and so proud of yourself that it's all worth it at the end of every day. And I'm excited each morning to get even deeper into it, and it's just, yeah, it just is it's a complete 180 from where I was 3 months ago. Totally bored. And you know, again, no shade to my former company. I actually really like the team and I really like what they're building. It just wasn't my passion, and after 2.5 years, I was kind of over writing about that topic. So I was not in the best place, and I was feeling really demotivated and like I had just lost the joy of writing and storytelling. And it completely has come back, and I'm just stoked to start writing space stories. So thanks to those of you who are watching this, and I'll definitely show you a little bit of the Noordwijk campus, the ISA campus here in the Netherlands. It's about an hour away from Amsterdam. It's on the beach practically, so that should be pretty cool.